I'm a little late to the party here, but I started playing Among Us a few months ago. Now, why didn't I start playing it years ago, back when it was at its peak of popularity? Well, for one thing, I was a little bit busy at the time picking out which assortment of tinfoil hats I wanted to wear during lockdowns. But the other reason is that when something is popular, I don't want it. Like when the Harry Potter fandom was at its prime, I had friends constantly telling me, "You have to watch the new movie, you have to read the books." To which I said, "Like hell I do." Then, a few years ago, once everyone had left me alone about it for a while, I read the first book and got hooked, and I am now a proud card-carrying member of Ravenclaw. And if you want to know how I earned this Headgirl pin, I'll link the video explaining the story because only a Ravenclaw was going to get that pin out of the lost mail supply. Okay, moving on, back to Among Us. This game is fun, but let me tell you one thing, it is not without its flaws. So today, I have to vent about players venting about players venting. In other words, I need to express frustration about players calling emergency meetings to vote out other crewmates just for venting. Full disclosure, I have never played with anyone named Blue Honda or Green Banana. If you have either of these player names, I sincerely apologize. In all seriousness, it is really frustrating when you're in a game, you're half a second away from finishing a task, and someone calls an emergency meeting to say, "I saw Blue Honda vent." Really, you don't say. And you can tell everyone in the chat, like, hey, Blue Honda might be an engineer. But what do? They vote out Blue Honda. And guess what? 95% of the time, Blue Honda wasn't an imposter, which means that we just voted out an engineer. And then, the next game, Blue Honda will press the emergency meeting button and say, "I saw Green Banana vent." Blue Honda knows that engineers exist. They were an engineer last game. Do people think that engineers can only vent when they are the engineer? And that the venting ability just disappears when someone else becomes engineer? Do players not realize how powerful engineers are? Engineers can hide in the vents and spot imposters killing, shapeshifting, disappearing, or reappearing. And if we vote them out, we just lost that edge. I had a game once when someone did submit scan at medbay in front of me and 4 other players. Then right after they vented. I mean, we had all seen them do submit scan, so obviously they're crewmate, right? Well, the other players who watched them do submit scan didn't think so. They called a meeting to snitch on how they saw the player vent. They voted out an obvious crewmate. So next time you're playing Among Us, check the game settings to see if there are engineers. If there are, keep track of how many, and when you see someone vent, don't automatically assume the worst. I mean, just keep in mind that you saw them vent and track the player a bit if you can safely do so and see if they do a visual task. Otherwise, I mean, if we vote out crewmates and you're a crewmate, we might lose the game. I'm just saying. Tell me what you think. Is there a good reason to vote people out for venting when there are engineers in game? The end.